Hey.
Hey everybody, we're just having our own conversation over here.
Hello.
My name is Allison and this is Table Talk, and we have a special guest today. Brian Swanson. He was here a couple weeks ago with Mike when he was filling in for me.
Yeah. Am I like the favorite guest named Brian?
You're the only Brian, what?
That's okay. I'll claim that title.
You claim it?
I'm excited. I was going to wear a puffy vest since Mike's not here, but I forgot it at home.
Oh, man.
So I know how you all love Mike's puffy vests.
We both had to show up at a thing last night, and we both were wearing a puffy vest. It was not planned.
Really, we need to start calling him Puffy.
Mike Puffy.
Yes.
No, that would be mean.
Well,
he would take it wrong.
Well, then maybe P Diddle. Or, like the rapper. I didn't mean in a bad way.
You didn't mean puffy like
no, I meant
fluffy.
Puffy vest. I'm not coming back, am I?
No, he would make that joke about himself. He
Yeah,
does
but
that
that's
all the time.
for him too. That's fine.
No, but you
I
didn't
can't
mean
do
it.
that. Yeah.
You didn't mean it.
Yeah.
No.
It's like if a Cubs fan makes fun of the Cubs, like I could do that.
Right.
But like a Cardinals fan or or anyone really, I'd be like,
you can't
just get out of here.
Yeah. No, I know. You're of a heart of gold. You would not make fun of somebody's puffiness.
Thank you. I would hope not.
How do you respond to that?
Well, well, of course. I don't know. You're right, Allison. I would not.
You would not. So this week we are talking about hope. So if you watched our service on Sunday, we did the start of Advent. So we did the first week. It was hope, and how hope is a part of our story. And Brian had the week off, so Brian didn't even have to preach it. It wouldn't have been hope, though. You guys did it in a different order, I think. Anyway.
No, we did do hope.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
I listened to Dave Hackett. I bet lots of people know who that guy is. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of a heart of gold.
Yes.
Like, that's a real heart of gold. My heart's like crusty and dried up compared to Dave Hackett. I mean, he is Jesus Jr. walking the earth. And he's probably going to give me a noogie now after I say that.
Yes, that's high praise, but you are right. He's one of the nicest humans on the planet.
So it was awesome. He talked about hope and talked about all the ministries going on with Woods Chapel and stuff like that. So it was really cool because I was like, yes, there is still things going on, still ministry happening through our church communities, and that gives hope. That's a lot of hope.
Yeah. So we'll put some questions out there for you guys so you can interact with us here today. One thing I wanted to revisit was Amy Bartlett mentioned something when I did her 60 Seconds of Fame, or was it 45? Did I just make it 60 and it was 45?
It was 45.
45 Seconds of Fame video. And she was talking about how one Christmas she had hoped for a real Cabbage Patch doll. And we share that. I had the same thing. It was like my kindergarten year. For those of you who are old enough to know what a Cabbage Patch doll was, it was like this year's Baby Yoda. Like, you can't find them. Everybody, or a Tickle Me Elmo. Like, everybody wanted one, but you couldn't find it.
Yep.
And so she got a homemade one. And she got a homemade one. So there was an expectation, and then, would you say it was not met?
It was not met.
Okay.
Was there actual cabbage on it? Because I know you grew up on a farm. So, did your mom, sow cabbage
With
into
cabbage?
that?
It was made of food?
So, a month later, it's, wilty, and there's, fruit flies around, and you're just like, ah.
Well, okay, so I hoped for the same thing. Maybe that same year, Amy. And what I got was the knockoff version. I don't even remember what it was called now, but they had similar kind of names that the Cabbage Patch dolls had. But their hair was markedly different. It was not the same hair. Their little features, their cute little freckles and things
the dimples.
Different.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed. If mom and dad are watching, they probably do. No offense, it's better not to get everything you want. So I appreciate the gift and the thought that counts and all that. But at the time, I was devastated that it wasn't a real Cabbage Patch.
So my sister got one. She got one, and I didn't know what the hubbub was. She opened it. She's like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, cool. I didn't get it at the time. So I don't know. Maybe
people were fighting each other for them in lines and stuff because there were none. So if you guys would answer this question, what gift did you really want as a kid that you just didn't get, or you got some version of it that was not okay?
Yeah.
Did you have one though?
I did. Well, I had a question for you.
Yeah.
Was your doll's name like Large Marge or...
That's Garbage Pail, right?
Oh, Garbage Pail Kids. My bad. Yeah. No, if you don't know, Garbage Pail Kids, and they still make these.
Oh, do they really?
They do, yeah. Garbage Pail Kids were these trading cards, like baseball cards, that they were making fun of Cabbage Patch Kids because Cabbage Patch Kids had these, cute backstories, and they were birthed out of cabbage, like Amy's Cabbage Patch Kid. And Large Marge is one of them, and so I wanted Garbage Pail Kids pack because they're funny and gross.
And they're really gross.
They're really
They'll be
gross.
about like vomit and
like
boogers
Ralph and
stuff.
Ralph.
Yes.
And there's a Cabbage Patch Kid looking guy, and he just throws up, and you can flip the card, and there's a story of why he would throw up, or whatever. And so I have an aunt named Marge, and she's awesome. But I'm like, look, Aunt Marge, it's you.
Oh no.
Large Marge. She was not.
She was not happy.
She didn't really like it.
Well, okay.
So.
But did you have like an expectation one year of getting something in that you like?
Yeah. So, I think this was a Christmas gift. I could be wrong, but when He-Man was a toy and a cartoon, and I think I was late to the game on it, but the He-Man was the superhero that's like Mr. Universe maxed out, just lots of roids on this guy. I'm sure he was just like, in between commercials, he's just like, taking the, I almost said hemorrhoids, the steroids.
Steroids, not hemorrhoids.
Hopefully not hemorrhoids. And his alter ego, like the Clark Kent version of him, I forget his name, Adam Grayskull.
Yes.
So the Adam Grayskull version came out, and he's just as cut as He-Man. And so I open the package, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to turn him into He-Man, because there was this thing that Adam Grayskull would say to turn into He-Man. It was like this magic thing. So he'd pick up his sword, kind of like the Hulk, and he would say, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, something like that. Mm-hmm. And he'd lift up his sword, and this little mini tornado would go around him, and he'd become He-Man. Less clothes, a loincloth. It looked really scratchy and itchy. And then his sword. And so I'm sitting down there, and I'm closing my eyes so tight, and I'm like, I have the power! I have the power! And nothing happened, and so I screamed it. I'm starting to yell this. And I'm sure my mom is just like,
this kid's crazy.
Guys, we're having some technical issues.
Oh, no.
The broadcast keeps getting interrupted, and our viewers are saying that it's buffering on their end.
Oh. Should we start it with my phone?
I'm wondering if we should start with one of our phones and restart so that we get a better...
Is mine still up there where you can hit the setup thing? Well, the Comcast truck was out front, so that's always a bad sign when you're...
I turned in, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, when you roll up and the Comcast people
Allison, will you come start it? Because I don't
Sure.
know what I'm doing. I stopped this one. We'll start this one.
Allow access. Wait, stop. I can't. It doesn't work.
The problem is, it goes for 3 weeks and works just fine.
It's me. Is it me?
No.
Okay, let me see if I can get back into the event.
It's like, why does it work some weeks and not other?
Do we need to take this off because it'll be upside down?
Yes, please, thank you. I'll put it backwards.
Or yeah, backwards, not upside down.
share. You need to.
Is it live? It says it's live. That looks like it would get us from there.
Here.
Amy, look and see if it looks normal to you. Is this live? It says we are. So.
It's showing on my phone like this.
It's sideways?
Do we need to like
rotate my phone?
talk like this now?
But are we actually on there?
We're live.
Oh, hey,
You're
guys.
just sideways.
So sorry about the technical difficulties. We were just saying, when you drive up to the church and the Comcast truck is out front, you know it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah. So if you have a crick in your neck later because you're doing this, just go to your chiropractor.
Right? We all have one on standby.
Yeah.
What were we saying? Because your mom was like listening to you try to yell and make He-Man turn to Earth.
Yeah, so I don't know when it cut off the feed, but so I had Adam Grayskull in my hands and closed my eyes and said, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, whatever, and I open it and he doesn't change. He's still Adam Grayskull. So I close my eyes, say it louder, and then I open, so a third time, I have the power! And I'm like, I'm just crying. I've got
trying
tears.
to make it happen.
Yeah, like, what's wrong with me that I can't, or something, the toy's broken.
It's broken.
And I'm sure my mom is like, my kid is mental. Like, he's gone crazy.
Yeah.
How does he not, I was old enough, I think, to know, but I don't know. Maybe I wasn't. But, so finally she says, Brian, I don't think it works like that. And so I was disappointed in that because magic was not real.
Oh, yeah. That's a big disappointment.
Yeah.
Amy, with the technical difficulties, I don't know if anyone answered our question that we posed about wanting a toy and not getting it. Did anybody answer that one?
No, not that I've seen.
Okay, well, guys, if you're there still and you can think of that moment when you had this hope for a certain thing at Christmas time and the hopes were dashed, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about that, though, is what do you think? Because in life in general, if you set your expectations high, you will sometimes be disappointed.
Yeah.
And more than if you had set your bar low.
Yeah.
So as a person of faith, what do you do with that? How do you temper your hope level so that you're not constantly living in this disappointment when
That's a great question.
versus having the bar low all the time?
I think that's probably, I don't know if anyone's ever really posed a question like that about faith that I've ever heard. That's really good because like with movies, if I'm super excited for a movie, sometimes I've had to be like, okay, like hold back so you don't just think it's the worst thing ever. I think people will go through that with Star Wars movies and things like that. So I like superhero movies. There's a movie, Venom. I don't know if...
I don't know that
did
one.
Corbin like Venom? Does he likes superhero
He
movies?
loves superhero movies, but I don't know if I heard about that one.
Yeah, so I need to ask him. So Venom is a Spider-Man villain, and he had his own movie come out, and I just put my bar super low because I'm like, that way, if I enjoy something, hey, it was better than what I thought, right?
Yeah.
And so I told my friend Jacob, he was like, how was it? Because he's dubious, and I had just made myself be dubious and cynical about it. And I came out of the movie, and I'm like, hey, I thought it was okay. So, better. So Jacob's like, okay, I'll watch it. So Jacob watches it. He's like, that's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. How do you like it? And so I'm in this weird position of like trying to defend Venom, and I'm just like, I mean, it's better than what I thought, because I thought it would be like,
Yeah,
awful.
so it's like it's all relative kind of thing.
Kind of. So with faith, we have lots of big hopes in Christ. We have this hope for not just an afterlife and what heaven will look like, but forgiveness in this life. We have hope that maybe if Jesus promises us that if we love our enemies, like somehow that will help us not only grow in our faith, but maybe we can reconcile with enemies, And so many times we have these broken relationships where we don't see forward progress. And or if people are sick and we hope that God will heal them, sometimes we have good outcomes, sometimes we don't, And so I wonder if do people who don't really have faith or who struggle with it or who want to believe in Jesus but just can't make that leap or that step, do they see those kinds of instances and just feel kind of like they just can't go there because maybe they don't want their hopes dashed, you know?
Like it doesn't work, so I'm not
Right.
going to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I think with expectations, we need to set them in a good way so that in a realistic way, you know? I don't think that that's getting hope out of the picture. I don't think it's being too cynical. I'm an optimist by nature, you know? When I have cynical thoughts or I'm negative, like I start to kind of wonder what's wrong with me. And a little bit of cynicism I think is good, you know, kind of, those are moments that help people think, okay, maybe how can I address this problem? What's a better solution? What can I do?
Us cynics call it realism.
So you're a cynic?
Oh, I'm going to fall off.
It's all right. Be careful.
I do think so. I try to battle that.
Okay.
But I do think I tend to be a little bit like skeptical and cynical.
That's
about
interesting
things.
because I don't know you as well as like Mike or Amy, but I wouldn't have said that about you.
Well, I
So.
try not to like always verbalize it, but in my mind, you know,
Yeah.
you play mind games with yourself. So write down, are you the cynicist? Is that a word? Can you make that a noun? Are you cynical?
Are you the cynic?
Are you the cynic? Thank you. A
Yeah.
cynicist old guy. I don't know.
Is that like
Can't
a
word.
negative person
Are
riding
you
a bike?
cynic, or are you an optimist? Which would you say that you are?
Yeah.
But I try to, even though I feel those things, it can get me down sometimes. But I try not to like live there and like have it come out my mouth all the time because I think there are power in your words, not in a mystical way, but just you say it, you hear it back, you just keep that cycle going, and I think that matters.
Well, I had a friend once say, our words create our reality. And at first I was like, what are you talking about? I can't like speak things into existence. I can't change the atmosphere. I can't turn a duck into a frog or, you know, whatever. So, but what he was getting at is the way you speak, the way you talk to others forms how you're going to relate to them, how you're going to have an outlook in life. And so, you know, if I had come in here with a bad attitude, maybe our conversation would have gone in a different way because my words were steering us in that way. You know what I mean? So.
Well, it also changes if it changes the way you view yourself, and so it'll change the things you say yes to, or the things you say no to, or the things you think you're capable of. So you either try or you don't, and that's part of that expectation thing too.
Yeah.
I think expectations of others and yourself and how you see life. It's like you said, you and your friends saw the same movie, and it explains like the vast, what do you call it, range of opinions that are out there on the very same experience.
Yeah.
But your lens is different, so.
And
I don't know.
I think that Jesus kind of talked about that. There's a passage in the Sermon on the Mount where he says, you know what you, was that a fly?
That was like a moth or a fly or something.
How are the...
Hey, it's cold out. He's found refuge.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So Jesus talked about like when I will bind what you bind and what you loose, I will loose. And I've never understood that, but I think that what maybe he's talking about is the way we interact with others, what we say does make a difference. And so if you have someone you're not getting along with, but you hope that it gets better, that has to start with you. You can't just sit on your hands and hope that that person's going to say things to you that treat you well or just in their attitudes toward you. It's got to start with you. You know what I mean? And so I think with faith, how do you temper that so you're not always disappointed? We kind of look at realistic expectations. We pray, and then we say, what's our part in this too? How am I partnering with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit, in how I interact with other people, and how I'm cultivating my attitude?
Yeah. I don't want to go too far before we ask Amy if there's anything anybody's saying that we should acknowledge. I'm sure everyone always has such good comments every week.
Well, Chuck said he straddles that sometimes he's usually an optimist on the outside, but his first reaction is definitely cynicism.
That's me too.
Chuck, I relate to that. I think in the past year especially, but maybe, I don't know, maybe the past couple of years I've been a little bit more cynical sometimes, and yeah.
I think we all probably have gotten that way. I mean, and that's part of what brought this up on Sunday with Mike's message, is he was talking about people's expectations of the holiday season.
Yeah.
And how it's like nothing is like what it was, and we have all these expectations for what makes it a happy holiday or whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but we know that those things are not going to be the same this year, and so there's like this whole grief going on.
Yeah, I really like what he had to say about embracing the dark, and just being willing to go through that shadow, the valley, where you know that the promise we have is on the other side. But also that God is with us as we go through that valley, as we go through that shadow. And shout out to Mike. I didn't know about like the Celts burning the logs that would last for 12 years, or 12 days.
Yeah.
Is that where we get the 12 days of Christmas?
That's what he said. Yeah, I've never researched that either, but that's fascinating. Yeah, mind blown. There's a reason for some of our traditions, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is anyone out there struggling with a certain kind of tradition that they can't do this year? Mine was Christmas in the Sky. I don't know if anybody does Christmas in the Sky, but our family every single year has done this. So it's on the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. They do that big fireworks show, in Lee Summit, Longview Park.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And so they have like this dance thing. We don't care about the dance thing so much. No offense. But we love to go to the fireworks show, and they canceled it this year. They have the drive-through, the park thing, which we'll do, but like every year we would do the fireworks show. And it sounds like something stupid, but it's like you realize we have done this every year since my kids were born. We brought our hot chocolate out there. And like, I don't know, there is a grief to that.
Yeah.
But it's because your expectation is a certain thing, and then
Yeah.
you just have to kind of roll through it.
Yeah, that's tough. This is a hard year. Yeah, my family, we don't know if we'll be able to be with kind of my parents' immediate family and our kids and spouses. For sure we won't be with our extended family just because they're some of the
In Chicago, right?
Well, my mom's family, my sister lives in Chicago with her family, but my mom and extended family live in Western Illinois and some various towns. But my extended family, they're in that kind of the range of where they're more, help me out, Allison, higher risk.
Older?
They're higher risk for the virus.
Okay.
Yeah, you said that.
I said older.
I didn't say that.
Yeah. You can't call them older.
No. So.
So everyone's having to be more careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else out there, Amy?
Chuck said, when you were talking about optimism, he said his kids have brought out the optimist in him, and the tech team here at church, because we've had to remain really optimistic.
That is so true.
Clearly with our internet today.
Yes.
And so he said, I would have normally called myself a diehard realist before them, but they're teaching me to be
Oh, that's
more
awesome.
optimistic.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley said most of their traditions are in their own home,
Oh, nice.
so they're
Yeah.
able to continue a lot of those this year, minus going to see Santa or the holiday parties. So,
Yeah. We don't want to give Santa that virus.
Right. They have all kinds of like shield on him, shield. Like have you seen videos
No, I
of
haven't.
Santa at a mall? Like, and they'll bring the kid up, and the kid also has a mask and everything too. But I mean, they're really going all out to protect Santa.
Wow. Well, that's good.
Yeah, because he sees a lot. I mean, it's like constantly people coming through with their germs.
All over the world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How does he do
I
that?
don't know.
hey, Michael just commented, he said, what's up?
Mike.
Michael.
I forgot my puffy vest. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
He said, you're sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had technical difficulties again with the interwebs today, and so I set it up, and then I didn't realize that it was wrong. But if we turn this way, no wait, I think it was this way. Maybe
Your camera's on that way though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's one of those things like, because he was talking about the expectation of the people, of the Jewish people for a certain type of savior, obviously, and didn't get what they thought they needed.
Yep.
And so that's part of it too, is sometimes we think that certain things need to happen a certain way, but we don't have all the knowledge. We don't, so maybe our expectations are set inappropriately just because we're human. We're limited in our capacity and whatnot.
My hope voice or my optimist voice kind of looks at this and to say, what if, if our expectations aren't going to be met, our traditions, we won't be able to do them like we love. And Mike brought that up in his message, and he was getting choked up about that, and I'm kind of getting choked up too, thinking about what Mike's losing, what I'm losing with my family, that sort of thing. So the optimist says, what are things that might surprise us, that we find, that we discover that is better than what we expect?
Yeah.
With the Jewish people longing for this Messiah that would come in and kick butt and sweep the nation and get rid of the empire and form this huge, strong country. That was the kingdom of God that they were hoping for.
Right.
But what we got instead was this Messiah that showed us forgiveness and love and a better way to live and a hope for not just the future and afterlife, but a hope that we could foster peace in this world. We could feed the hungry. We could reach the oppressed. We could help people feel included, accepted, and loved. And this message, this revolutionary movement that Jesus started, and that's so much better than another politician or a king that takes a country and brings it to bigger prominence.
Right. Yeah, and like you said, I think the embracing the dark part, allowing that, Mike said this multiple times yesterday was Monday, Sunday, was taking that time, and as you said, what could be better about this? What could be new about this? Embracing the opportunity for the renewal and for the transformation.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's you don't even know. You don't even know what you need. Really what we need is humility and peace and love. We thought we wanted power and might and conquest, but we didn't even know what we needed.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to embrace the dark, though.
It is.
It's hard to use that and try to work on yourself and whatever when you're disappointed.
Yeah, it's hard to trust. When I walked in, Amy let me in, and we're going through the sanctuary, and it's dark, and there's it's kind of a blue light, right?
Yeah.
There's a blue light off to the side, but my eyes are still adjusting, and I'm just trusting Amy's not going to run me right into a couple chairs. I'm going to fall over.
You're walking like a ninny
I
because you're
did.
where?
I was I just did this
what
automatically.
am I going to get my shin on,
So I'm walking like this, and I'm I hope no one's I'm not on camera. But it was...
Makes sense.
Yeah, Amy, she was zigzagging all over. She jumped over the booby trap she had set for me. And I just had to trust that Amy was leading me where I needed to go.
Right.
I think there's a metaphor in that. There's that's what life going into 2021, I think, looks like, is, okay, Jesus is leading us. God knows. God's got it in his hands. What does that mean? What does that look like? We don't know, but that's what our hope has to be. Hope gets us through things that cynicism doesn't. So.
Yeah, I think you're right. You've got to have that little glimmer, because if you don't have that little glimmer, there's no more trying. There's no more.
Yeah.
So, any other comments out there, Amy, that you want to... I don't know what time it is. I feel like we have 2 minutes left, and we didn't get very far with our technical difficulty part at the beginning. And that was the funny part, y'all. We're talking about toys. Well,
Yeah, things that didn't work, or we were disappointed
I hope
in.
people
Yeah.
got to hear our Cabbage Patch story. But maybe even with Cabbage Patch, Amy, maybe you and I needed to learn something through that experience. Like maybe we need to like not be the spoiled brat or whatever, and so there's a lesson there. Like I have to be okay with what I have, not with what I want all the time. And
Yeah.
you know, we think we need the name brand real Jordache jeans.
Yeah.
We're dating ourselves today.
Totally are.
But we're gonna wear the Lee jeans because that's what we've got.
Yeah. So to be clear, you're calling my sister a brat, is what you were saying.
Oh, she got the cat.
She did,
yeah.
yes, so-
You spoiled brat.
She's not gonna watch this.
Oh. Anything, Amy?
Chuck and Ashley are just talking a little bit about, Chuck is saying, you know, a cynic would say that every silver lining has a dark cloud.
Yeah. Yep.
And he said life it's not about waiting out the storm, but dancing in the rain.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
that.
And then Ashley told him he's very wise, and he said he just memorizes good sayings on T-shirts that he sees on Facebook.
There you go.
You
There
know,
you
it's
go.
a good time if you just Google, like, meme about whatever or whatever. You'll come up with the funniest and sometimes really
Yeah.
meaningful things. That's
Yeah.
why I get a lot of our posts. I'll just Google something funny meme about dogs, and then I'll get something that cracks Amy Bartlett up. It's a dog picture or whatever.
Yeah.
But you could go all day looking at memes and stuff on the internet and taking
Yeah.
the wisdom from it.
Well, I think, Chuck, I'm glad you put those out there because I think hopeful optimists need hopeful cynics.
Like
We-
balance in the force.
Yeah, we need each other. We need each other because there are times when I might be going on a run of optimism and I need someone to be like, hold up, it might not work out like that, Brian. You know what I mean? And so,
Temper your.
right, and cynics need people to be like, hey, look up. You need to look up. And as I was driving here, I was going a little bit faster than maybe what I should have. And I didn't get pulled over or anything like that. I don't think I was going that fast where someone would have been like, hey, let's talk. But
Yeah.
and here's some paper for you. But some cars were driving and it's beautiful out. And I looked up at the sky and I was like, I wonder what it looks like as I'm like scurrying this way to get to the Blue Springs campus and people are coming this way. And sometimes I wonder, are we just going so fast all the time we forget to just look up and just breathe, kind of realize, okay, hey, Jesus has got our backs.
There's a bigger picture.
There's
here.
a bigger picture. God is doing things in our lives and in this world. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's a good thought to send people with, Brian. There's a bigger picture, y'all.
Yeah.
There's a bigger picture. So it's not just about you, Cabbage Patch doll. You didn't get. Bigger
Amy's throwing things in the background.
Yeah.
Just calm down, Amy.
Yeah.
Well, thanks guys for joining us today. We appreciate your time that you would choose to spend your lunch hour with us. Have a good week.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.